We need to do more, and the United States will do more.
U.S. President Joe Biden announced on Friday plans for a military airdrop of humanitarian aid into Gaza, where the United Nations says more than 500,000 people, 1/4 of the population, are one step away from famine.
In the coming days, we're going to join with our friends in Jordan and others in providing airdrops of additional food and supplies.
Efforts to supply Palestinians with food and medicine have been interrupted by fighting, looting, and Israeli protesters attempting to block trucks entering from Egypt. And the White House on Friday acknowledged just how hard it would be to effectively deliver aid from the air. Israel's military operation in the Palestinian territory, in retaliation for a surprise attack on October 7th, has sparked a humanitarian crisis in the densely populated Gaza Strip. Other countries, including Jordan and France, have already carried out airdrops of aid into Gaza. Biden's announcement comes a day after Gaza health authorities said Israeli forces opened fire and killed more than 100 people trying to reach a relief convoy near Gaza City.
No IDF strike was conducted towards the aid convoy.
Israel blamed most of the deaths on crowds that swarmed around aid trucks, saying victims had been trampled or run over. An Israeli official also said troops had, quote, in a limited response, later fired on crowds they felt had posed a threat. The UN Palestinian Refugee Agency, UNRWA, said on Friday that during February, an average of nearly 97 trucks were able to enter Gaza each day, compared with about 150 trucks a day in January, adding, quote, the number of trucks entering Gaza remains well below the target of 500 per day.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, everybody. Matter of fact, as the President just announced, the United States will carry out airdrops of aid into Gaza in coordination with our international partners, particularly Jordan, in the coming days. We're also going to redouble our efforts to open up a humanitarian maritime corridor to deliver amounts of humanitarian assistance by sea, hopefully large amounts by sea. This is, of course, in addition to expanding deliveries by land, which we have been keenly focused on now for many months. We'll continue to push Israel to facilitate more trucks going in and more routes being open so that more aid can get to more people. We're going to continue to pull out every stop to get more aid to people who desperately need it. Now, as you all know, a deal that would trigger a 6-week ceasefire is currently on the table. In addition to the additional flow of aid that would come with that deal, we're continuing to work to make sure that we can get the hostages out as well and to see a reduction in the violence. With the fighting stopped, aid will be able to flow more freely.
Just to triple check, when the president said we were airdropping to Ukraine twice, he meant Gaza, correct? He just misspoke.
He was referring to Gaza.
And can you talk about how the U.S. ensures that the airdropped aid gets to the people who needs it and doesn't end up in the hands of Hamas?
Yeah, I'm really glad you asked that question, actually. Having seen these kinds of operations myself over many years, there's few military operations that are more complicated than humanitarian assistance airdrops. This is a tough military mission to do because so many parameters have to be exactly right. And again, the planning will be robust on this. That said, I know that we will learn from the first airdrops. And this will be a part of a sustained effort. This isn't going to be one and done. There will be additional airdrops planned and executed. And with each one, I think we'll learn more and we'll get better at them. It's very difficult. It is extremely difficult to do an airdrop in such a crowded environment as is Gaza. Very, very densely populated, a lot of people confined to small spaces. So you want to do it in a way that you can get it to as close as you can to the people in need, but not in a way that puts them in any danger. And so the Pentagon will be doing a raft of planning on this. They'll work their way through that. But I do want to stress that we fully expect that the third and fourth and fifth one won't look like the first and second one. We'll learn and we'll try to improve.
And are you able to be more precise than coming days as to when the airdrops will start?
I can just tell you in coming days, as the President said, I don't have an exact delivery schedule for you, but we're not waiting around, and the Pentagon's working on this very, very hard.
Thank you, Kareem.
In this case, the first deliveries will be food. Most likely the MREs, the portable food that the military uses. We've been working on the idea for airdrops here for a little while. The idea of thinking about through whether we need to do this. But again, it's not the kind of thing you want to just do in a heartbeat. You want to think this. You want to think it through carefully, and we've been doing that.
Was there any communication between the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu before this announcement today?
I don't have any conversations with the Prime Minister to speak to. We obviously have been talking to our Israeli counterparts about this. This is not going to come as a surprise to them that we're considering doing this. In fact, they did one themselves a week or so ago, and certainly we were mindful of that. They kept us informed. So no surprise to the Israelis that we're doing this.
Thank you. Will the U.S. continue to supply weapons to Israel after what happened yesterday in Gaza?
We are still helping Israel with their needs to defend themselves.
ايش محمل؟ كم كيلو؟
10.
من وين؟
البروشيتات.
يلا الله يعطيك العافية.
لما يقرب على الارض بنسبه كثير زياده. هذا الصدر حتى واحده بالقرب لما الجديد بتهود بالعجل. لما هذا عشان الهواء فوق كثير، كل ما يخف الهواء.
يعني تجيبه هيك علي؟